Billy Joel's known as the Piano Man. Behind the stage lights sat a garage packed with over 75 motorcycles. From a $60,000 Vincent Rapide to rare Harleys and custom Triumphs, his collection was pure two-wheeled history. Today we're diving into the bikes that defined his hidden passion. At first we have the crown jewel of Billy Joel's collection, the 1952 Vincent Rapide Series C. To non-riders, that might just sound like another old British bike. But to motorcycle enthusiasts, it's practically royalty on two wheels. Vincent was once called the Rolls-Royce of motorcycles, and the Rapide was its superstar. Capable of topping 110 miles per hour in an era when most cars wheezed to hit 70. Billy clearly had a soft spot for this machine, and who wouldn't? It blends elegance with raw power, the sort of bike that made cafe racers dream of speed and style. At auction today, a clean Rapide fetches anywhere from $39,000 to $66,000 depending on condition. It's a lot of money for two wheels, but then again, also a ticket to own one of the most legendary motorcycles ever built. It's not just metal and rubber, it's living history. Hold on now, you've just seen Billy Joel's crown jewel, the Vincent Rapide, worth up to $66,000. That's only the beginning. His garage wasn't just about British legends. It had custom gifts, American icons, and Italian speed machines. Stick around because the next bikes are even better. Next, we have Billy Joel's custom 1978 Triumph Bonneville. It's not just any old Brit twin. This one was gifted to him by Madison Square Garden in 2024 to celebrate his legendary run of shows. They went all out. Piano keys painted across the tank, his autograph scripted boldly, and the MSG logo stamped in. It's basically a rock concert on two wheels. Normally, a 78 Bonneville in clean shape sells for $6,000 to $9,000, which makes it a fine choice for collectors of classic British bikes. This particular machine is unique. The provenance tied to Joel's career and one-off artwork could easily hit $30,000 or more if auctioned. It's a perfect matchup of music history and motorcycle culture. For Joel, this Bonneville wasn't just about riding. It was about immortalizing his bond with a venue that shaped his legacy. Moving on, let's talk about the Harley-Davidsons in Joel's collection. No American motorcycle lineup's complete without a few Milwaukee legends, and Joel's Oyster Bay gallery had several from the 1940s to the 1960s. These were the big boys, knuckleheads, panheads, and other chrome-heavy beasts built for cruising long highways with plenty of attitude. Values for vintage Harleys varies widely. Well-kept panheads or knuckleheads regularly go for $25 to $50,000, and rarer configurations can push $75,000 or more. For a collector like Joel, who clearly had a taste for prime examples, these bikes easily fall into that higher bracket. Harleys are not just motorcycles, they're symbols of rebellion, freedom, and the soundtrack of America itself. For the Piano Man, owning a garage full of them was as natural as hitting the keys. Loud, proud, and built for the road. Next, we have Joel's lineup of vintage Triumphs, the kind that defined cool in the 1950s and 60s. These weren't showy, overbuilt cruisers, but sleek British machines designed for speed and style. They were the cafe racer's weapon of choice and the bike of Hollywood rebels like James Dean and Steve McQueen. Joel fit right in. Early Bonnevilles and Tigers are the most collectible, and in today's market they range from $8,000 to $15,000. Pristine examples often pushing $20,000 or more. It's not outrageous money compared to some of the rarities in his stable. They're timeless machines that still turn heads. For Joel, these Triumphs were about capturing an era. Lightweight, fast, and dripping with style, they represent the side of motorcycling that's about feeling free and looking cool at the same time. It's easy to picture him riding one out of Oyster Bay with a grin. Moving on to Italy, Joel's collection also featured a healthy dose of Ducatis. The motorcycle enthusiast skips Bologna's finest, and Joel certainly didn't. Vintage Ducatis are known for their unmistakable sound, racing pedigree, and a famous desmodromic valve system that made them scream on the track. Back in the day, Joel showcased smaller models like the 250 Scrambler alongside bigger classics. Today, those Scramblers sell for $7,000 to $12,000, while collectible sport machines like the Ducati 750 GT and the legendary 900 SS can bring $20,000 to $30,000 depending on condition. Given Joel's habit of keeping his bikes in pristine shape, his examples likely sit on the high end. Ducatis add flair to any garage, fast, exotic, and a little bit temperamental, kind of like a rock star's touring schedule. For Joel, they brought European style to a collection otherwise dominated by American muscle and British icons. Next, we have Billy Joel's taste for Italian muscle beyond Ducati, Moto Guzzi. Known for their transverse V-twins and quirky engineering, Guzzis have always stood apart. Joel's Oyster Bay gallery displayed several, likely from the 60s and 70s when Moto Guzzi was defining itself as Italy's alternative to Harley and BMW. Vintage Moto Guzzis like the V7 Sport or the Ambassador usually range between $8,000 and $15,000, while rare racing versions or pristine restorations can creep towards $20,000 or more. They aren't just pretty, they're reliable workhorses that carry old-world Italian charm. Joel adding Guzzis to his stable shows he wasn't just collecting for show. He wanted a mix of bikes that told the whole story of motorcycling's golden era. Moto Guzzis have soul, character, and just enough quirkiness to keep you smiling, even when they demand a little extra attention in the garage. Moving on, we hit the German engineering corner with Joel's BMW motorcycles. Vintage BMW Boxer twins from the 1960s like the R62 or R69S were loved for their reliability and classic touring style. They were the bikes that could cross continents without breaking a sweat. In today's market, these vintage BMWs fetch $10,000 to $18,000, with pristine examples commanding closer to $20K. They're not flashy, that's their charm. Black and white BMW with exposed cylinder heads looks timeless, a motorcycle drawn with a ruler. For Joel, who built a collection that spanned cultures, BMW has represented precision and practicality. They may not roar like a Harley or strut like a Ducati, but they embody the side of motorcycling that's about endurance and understated elegance. In other words, they're the kind of bike you ride when you want to arrive in style, still arrive on time. Next, we have Indian motorcycles, the American rival to Harley and a must-have for any U.S.-based collector. Joel's lineup included classic Indians from the mid-20th century, recognizable by their Art Deco styling and big sweeping fenders that look more like sculpture than machinery. A restored vintage Indian Chief from the 1940s or 50s often sells for $25,000 to $40,000, while rarer pre-war examples or perfectly restored models can climb to $50,000 or more. These bikes are as much history as they are machines, with a legacy going back to the early 1900s. Indians aren't just collectible, they're pure Americana. They represent the roots of motorcycle culture in the U.S., and for Joel, adding Indians to his collection meant he wasn't just a Harley man. He was a fan of the entire American story, from the first bike races to the golden age of big fender cruisers. Moving on, Joel's collection also included Yamahas, which added a taste of Japan to his otherwise Western-heavy lineup. Yamaha rose to prominence in the 60s and 70s with lightweight, affordable machines that quickly became favorites for new riders and racers alike. Models like the Yamaha XS650 or RD350 are now cult classics. Today, an XS650 in good shape goes for $5,000 to $8,000, while a clean RD350 can fetch $8,000 to $12,000. They're not as pricey as Vincent's or Indians, but their influence on motorcycling history is undeniable. Joel's inclusion of Yamahas show he respected not just heritage brands, but also the innovators who brought bikes to a broader audience. Japanese motorcycles changed the global market, making riding accessible and fun for millions. In his gallery, Yamaha stood proudly as proof that motorcycling isn't just about prestige, it's about joy. Finally, we have Royal Enfield, a British marquee famous for rugged, simple designs that refuse to die. Joel displayed classic Enfields in his Oyster Bay gallery, nodding to the brand's post-war heyday when they built solid, no-nonsense bikes for the everyman. Vintage Royal Enfield Bullets or Interceptors typically sell for $4,000 to $7,000, though rare models or pristine restorations can hit $10,000 or more. Compared to Vincent's and Indians, they're bargains. They carry their own charm. They're sturdy, reliable, and have a kind of understated cool that never really goes out of style. For Joel, the Enfields likely represented the grassroots side of motorcycling. They weren't flashy collector's trophies, but bikes built to ride, maintain, and enjoy. The perfect counterbalance to the high-value machines in his collection, knowing that sometimes the simplest classics are the most enduring. And that wraps up Billy Joel's incredible motorcycle collection, from rare Vincents to custom Triumphs and American classics. It proves the Piano Man wasn't just about music, he was also a true guardian of motorcycle history. Which bike stood out to you the most? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more deep dives into celebrity collections and hidden passions. Ride safe, and I'll see you in the next one.